Hello and welcome to the 111th attempt at recording the first video in a series of tutorials I'm going to be doing for Bitwig Studio. As a little precursor, I've been an Ableton user for about 8 years and loved the workflow, learned all the key commands, really knew the software like the back of my hand. I also love trying out new things and trying to always adapt and increase the possibilities that I have as a musician. So I often try out other software, and as far as DAWs go, I just always end up hitting a brick wall because my speed just ends up being like snail's pace compared to what I would do in Ableton. I've had Bitwig since the day it came out in 2014. I was actually in the first 100 people to buy it, and have on numerous occasions over those years opened it up and said, that's it, I'm never using Ableton again, this is so cool. But again, I just would end up going back to what I knew best. That being said, they have done some really cool new updates and upgrades, and using this lockdown period, I've read the manual back to front and decided to fully switch over. I've set up all the key commands to be the same as the ones I know in Ableton, and I have just, in many ways, delved headfirst into it, and I'm happy to say the fact that I think I'm a Bitwig user now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to say is that I love when the computer does stuff for me. I don't massively enjoy sitting there and programming in fills and drums and rhythms and stuff. I would much prefer, like with when you're in the room with a session musician, to have them play for you and you then go, that's cool, that's brilliant, let's use that bit. So in a similar workflow, I really love generative randomized sampling capabilities, and Bitwig Sampler has a brilliant mode in it that can utilize some of that randomization and modulation to create some really cool generative rhythms. And whether you're using drums or a vocal or a bass or music or whatever, you can create some things that you just would not be able to do if you sat there. I mean, maybe you could if you had like a million hours and the patience to come up with it, but anyways, I'm waffling. Let's jump straight in. Brilliant. Okay, so Bitwig Sampler has 3 main modes to it. It has repitch, which behaves just the same as it says, a traditional sampler playback with speed control. Cycles, which is for creating small cycles that can be used, as it says, as a wavetable synthesizer. And TÄCHES, granular playback, preserving sample pitch. Over the years, I've heard a lot about granular and grains and stuff, and it's always fascinated me. I always loved the idea of it. I'd heard that Villalobos used a lot of granular stuff in his productions. There's not too much information on how he does, but I always loved how you could make a 45-minute track, and the percussion is basically the same, but there is just subtle differences and nuances that create interest over 45 minutes. Doesn't need to be 45 minutes, Ricardo. Anyways, now I'm just waffling. So, sampler, brilliant. Let's go to the textures mode and let's just load up any loop. Let's just find, what about this one? Brilliant. Okay, let's throw that into this sampler. Now, I have a MIDI keyboard plugged in, and if I press any key, it will play through the sample until I let go. And it doesn't matter which key I press. Actually, it does. Okay, by default, I have this now set on. That's key tracking. Otherwise, everything is the same. If you can't get the pitch to change, it's because you need the key tracking onto 100. Okay, brilliant. That is not what I'm here to show you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this little snowflake icon, and the snowflake icon effectively freezes the playhead, requirement manual modulator, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if I hold that down, I now get this kind of long infinite loop of just a very fine grain of that audio. If I change the relative playhead position, I love that Bitwig just shows you what things are as you hover over them. It's brilliant. You can also set up so that if you can set up the show help command. This is another little thing where you can see the help view, and in real time you can actually still modulate things, so you can see what you're doing. I've never seen that in software before. I think that's brilliant, especially when you're trying to just really get to the bottom of things and understand how they work. I love that I can just know. I can know in an instant. I've got that mapped to the key just below escape, and whatever you click it on, say you had just a sampler in general, or say you had a reverb, you can go boom, and you can see how the individual things react while still operating the plugin. That is fabulous. Anyways, I'm waffling. Let's go back to this sample. I want to make it so that I can draw one long note in and have this pattern. Let's put it to C3 just so it plays at the correct pitch. I want to be able to have this sound cool. So the first thing I'm going to do to create a bit of rhythm, I'm going to add an arpeggiator. Now what this will do is it will, instead of playing that as one long note, across that long note it will repeat it like it's arpeggiating across one note. So now we have... why does it still sound like that? Well, because the actual sound is too long. So I'm going to bring the sustain down, make the decay quite short, and now we have a taka-taka-taka-taka. Brilliant. Also, if you're wondering why by default I have groove applied to the track, you can put the, let's see what they call it. It's not showing up. I think it's called like global groove. If I turn that off, now we have like a straight 16th, but you can bring this on, and any clip that has shuffle on will be equally grooved. You can choose the amount of shuffle here. Bit too much in my opinion. We'll bring that back down again to 30. Cool. Okay, so another thing I find fantastic is that oftentimes in Ableton I would have like a groove across clips. I think they got rid of global groove for some reason. It used to be there in Ableton 1, 6, whatever, but they got rid of the ability to do that with like a nice little knob where you can dial back and up and down the amounts. Anyways, I love that you can have this on the Bitwig clips, but it also affects the arpeggiators, because in Ableton oftentimes I would have a groove going and I would have like, you know, swing, but as soon as you slap an arpeggiator on something, my 16th note swung shuffly hats now sound really weird in context with this totally straight arpeggio. And I know there was a 8th mode swing and a 16th mode swing option on the arpeggiator, but there was no depth control. So you know, you'd end up having this wonky feel. Anyways, back to this now. So we've got our pattern going on. Fantastic. Now, I also have on my MIDI controller various knobs. So I'm going to map the start, you know, this thing that allow me to move there, to one knob. This will now allow me to move where the sample is starting. Already sounding quite cool, huh? Let's bring the gain up a little bit, just because being a bit smaller. Oh, so we're already getting a bit more interest here. If I change the grain size, if I find a spot there, if I change the grain size, I can create the actual length of the tiny sample to be longer. If I move it back again a little bit. And if I have more motion, this will create movement in between that space. Again, if you click the help mode, this explains it all perfectly. Scaled between the blah, 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 blah. Length of each audio grain, there we go, and amount of animation added to the playhead. Okay, so I'm going to map all three of those to a controller. So now I can effectively have this loop playing, and I can just play around, and I mean, already that sounds so much cooler than just having a straight loop. But what I want to use now is Bitwig's steps modulator to create the movement that I was doing with my hand. So I'm going to bring this just halfway line-ish so I can modulate it back and forth the same amount. I'll go full for now. And all I'm going to do now is just randomize the steps. Let's randomize again. Okay, quite cool. What we can also do is we can bring the depth down to create a little less movement, so all the way up there moves it a little less that way. I could also effectively do that by bringing this down, which I might do in fact. And I've still got my knob here to fine-tune the position. Okay, that's sounding quite cool. Let's bring the decay down a bit more to make it a bit more choppy. Okay, cool. Why don't we also put an envelope, an ADSR envelope, on the filter? So by default, we'll have all the sounds really filtered. And then each time the hit happens, we'll make it so that it opens the envelope up fully. Let's get rid of the attack, make this really short. Okay, that's quite cool. And let's go to the velocity, and let's do some sort of like a interesting velocity movement. Okay, that's cool. Why don't we take out a few of the steps? Okay, why don't we just duplicate that, and we'll call that Granular Perk 1. And now let's put another sample in on the next one. Let's find something a little different. Okay, cool. Let's put that in, and we'll do the same thing. Okay, cool. We'll call that Granular Perk 2. Let's duplicate it again. Let's find another loop. Again, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm not even going to listen to it. I'm just going to throw it in. Okay. I didn't choose to listen to that. Okay, so let's put this third one in. And let's get rid of that affecting the filter. Let's put like a bandpass filter on it. And let's chaos this. Let's get rid of the ones and just have... Cool. Let's bring the pitch down on that. 24 dB and see if we can make it into a bass sound. We can also smooth the layers between this, so instead of just jumping intervals, it will slide a bit more. Oh! Okay, I'm really digging that. Let's see what the sound was in the first place. Okay, quite cool. Let's see what it's become. I mean, I have no idea how I would even go about doing that. Cool. So now we've got a bit more randomization in there. Why don't we add another thing? And this time, let's get rid of the arpeggiator, and let's see if we can find some sort of vocal loop. I found quite a cool one in here. Let's slap there. Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, so I'm gonna again put this in textures mode. And now I'm going to get rid of the mapping I had for the other guys. Map it to this controller. To this layer. Let's make this a bit longer as well. Okay, and we'll play through. I gotta freeze it. Don't know what's going on here. Changing something else? What is going on here? Ah, I see. Let's get rid of that speed one and let's attach that to here. Okay. There we go. Cool. Okay, I'm also going to make a new audio channel. I'm going to record the output of this. We'll call this Granular Vocal. And I'm going to... Oh, wrong window. I'm going to record the output of that channel. Granular Vocal. And let's record. And let's just fuck around with the sound. Oh, it's quite cool. Move it a bit more. Okay, let's see if we can make some chops out of that. So I'm going to loop that section where it was vibing out on its own, and just loop it. Let's loop it like at a weird time. Let's do 12 bars, or however many that is, 3. Let's mute the vocal. Well, that's quite cool. Let's make another one. I like that first half where it was kind of like a pad as well. Make it a bit longer. I might filter that pad one a bit. Maybe add a bit of reverb. Mute that for now. Let's go to this little chop piece, and I'm just going to consolidate that clip. And for the sake of being able to see what I'm doing, I'm just going to make the gain a bit louder. I'll have to bring that down. And I've got a couple of cool little key commands set up. That Command P will slice in place, and I have it set to onsets. Let's see if we slice that to onsets and quantize it a decent amount, maybe 40. 40 is 40, not 30. Okay, brilliant. Now let's see what this sounds like. Why don't we put a gate on it as well? See if we can make it nice and choppy. Let's make sure we loop that. Oh. Yeah, okay. Make sure that the loop is on. Let's fade out as well. Oh, also you can do this, which is quite cool. I like that end bit. Okay, let's do something to this pad vocal. We'll call that choppy vocal. Also, I got a little hat here that, you know, despite all of the granular madness, sometimes it's nice just to have something a bit straight. Ooh, very cool. Okay, so let's change this. Let's pitch this up 12. Maybe we can change the mode to something where it doesn't fuck it up. I also really like the fact that you can just add the modulators to anything. So that first filter, let's put that after the... Ooh, what have I done? Let's add an LFO to the filter. And we'll make it so that it doesn't reset on the note. Let's go back to being a lower pitch. Okay, that's quite cool. Okay, let's find something else then. It'd be good to know what key we're in. Are we in A minor? Yeah, we'll call it A minor. Okay, so now let's make a bass line, you know. Let's find a bass in A minor. Oh, that could be quite cool. So let's drag that onto a sampler, and we'll do the same kind of thing where we'll hold a note down. And let's put it on textures mode, freeze the playhead. Let's add a steps to it and change the playhead start. And let's also put an arpeggiator on it. And let's make this instead of 8 steps, 6 steps, so it does something a little different. And maybe let's go like this. And we'll get rid of the first note and that note. Yeah, this could be quite cool. Let's see. So the grain is a bit long. Oh, that's right, I haven't changed this. Ooh, that's quite cool. And I'm going to filter that. So I don't like these last hits that much. That's that hit. And like, I could not make that just by myself, you know? Cool, cool, cool. Okay, we can also add another steps to control the pitch of the bass. So why don't we map that to go up 12 semitones. So, and cool. We'll call that bass. We'll call this choppy vocal. That's pad vocal. Okay, now let's do something a little different. I've got a little guitar recording from one of my dear friends here. I don't know what key this is in. It clearly ain't that. Some of you who know my music may remember that this is the guitar from... I forget what the song is called. Chasing Affection. So let's see pitch-wise if we can figure out what key that's in. So let's go down one. Down two. Let's go down three. There is menace to my madness, trust me. Let's go up one or two. Let's go to the textures mode. Let's go three. Oh, that's quite cool, even just as it is. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to record that out. I hope I don't have... Okay. Oh, let's record that out. We'll make this bloody long. So I'm going to record the audio of that out. I could also just do this, which I think is very cool. If I duplicate that, I can just do bounce in place, and it will just give me the audio straight away. Although that's really long, because I made the audio file. Oh, I didn't need to make it 257 bars. Let's just make it 32 bars. So I'll loop that, duplicate it, and I've got it set to Command B, which will just bounce it in place. Cool. So now I can just drag that onto a new audio file. Now let's do something else. Let's now map the start point again. And let's have it so that we can record out the audio from that channel. So let's call it guitar grain. And change the input of that to guitar grain. And let's record. Let's map the other two as well. Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. This grain stuff works really well, and if you have like single instrument sounds like this guitar. Oh. Oh. I mean, that on its own, I'm even just going to record that as a separate clip. Love that. Let's play that on its own channel. Let's record some more. Also, let's put the pitch down. So 3 minus 12 makes it minus 9. Also, bearing in mind, if you just scrub through, you can actually play the sound. Which is quite cool as well, if you've got like a guitar solo, to actually just scrub through the solo, because then like you won't play it properly. Cool, so we've got that recorded. Let's just keep that playing. Okay, let's try this one more time with another vocal. So, apparently we're in A minor, so let's search for a vocal. A minor. What have we got here? Cool, that'll do. So, let's just use the guitar grain channel, actually. Throw you on there. And let's record. Let's call this guitar grain 1. Guitar grain 2. Or we'll call this guitar Atmos 1 and guitar Atmos 2. And while we're here, I might as well just organize everything into some little groups. I've always felt that drums are red. Vocals are blue. Now actually they're pink. Although I don't massively like the pink in Bitwig. I did like Ableton's pink. We'll call that vocal. And obviously there is an order to things. Bass definitely goes in between drums. Bass, even though there's only one channel, I'll make it in a group, and I'll make that orange, because bass is orange. Guitar grain, we'll put these in the music, and music is blue. Music is baby blue. Brilliant. Okay, so now we'll go to this section, and let's record out another instance of that granular stuff, still called guitar grain. I'm confusing myself there, but okay, let's do the same thing we did with that guitar, but on the vocal. Oh, it's not playing, that's why. Let's put that back to regular pitch. Reverb to this. We can. Oh, let's use the shimmer verb. I'm just going to mute that crazy guitar I did. Maybe we can put the arpeggiator on this as well, bring the note down a bit more. I quite liked... Oh, I didn't even end up recording it. Never mind. Okay, cool. So we've got our vibe going here. Maybe we can just chop these at the onsets and again, just quantize that. Also, these things could be quite cool to be mapped to some sort of rhythm. So let's search for loop and find something which we don't necessarily like the sound of, but we like the rhythm of. Definitely ain't going to be a pad. Okay, that could be quite cool. So I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to change it so that it has no output. So no output, and we'll call that guitar Atmos rhythm. Okay. Another cool little thing in Bitwig is the ability to... Oh, wait. Let's just loop this indefinitely. The ability to hide tracks. So I have it set to Alt-X, but... Oh, Alt-X. But this little thing here, when on, will show you deactivated tracks. But if you have that off, you can effectively hide things. So say I wanted to hide all of these while I'm working on the other stuff, I can just 0 them. And that's not deleting them. I can hide everything. I can just bring them back up again. But it's quite nice when you have a big track count to be able to just hide things. Especially this kind of thing that I'm about to do. This serves no musical purpose. It's literally just there to serve as a rhythmic, a rhythm. So let me put on this guitar Atmos, let me put a tool. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's because it's a hybrid track. Okay, let me just search for it here. Tool. Not in my favorites. We'll slap that on there. And then let's have this bounce up and down in volume to the rhythm of that loop. So what we're going to do is we're going to modulate this with the audio sidechain. I'm going to bring the volume all the way down, and we're going to modulate it up to the input of the guitar rhythm. Sorry, I've got a broken screen, so I can't quite see below a certain point. There we go, post. I can make this a bit bigger again. Cool, so now let's see what happens when I play this. And if I put the output back on of that, you'll be able to see that it's the same output as... it's the same output. But I don't want that to be an output. So let's put that to no output again. Okay, cool. So now we've got... You can also choose where in the sidechain. Like, there's quite a lot of bass in that. Maybe if I just wanted the top end, I can choose what section it's sidechaining to. Oh. I'd dance to this. Okay, so now I can just deactivate that. Oh, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I lied. What I would do is I would just bounce this to audio. So I would... I don't know if bounce in place will work. Let's see. I always like to use the moment of bouncing to center myself. Have a couple of breaths, deep breaths of the jewel. Okay, let's see. Okay, no, it hasn't done it. So, whatever, I'm just going to record that out on audio from the guitar. Also, while we're there, why don't we put a filter on it that also reacts to the sidechain? So, we'll do audio sidechain, and we'll make that happen as an input of just the drums on the... Oh, maybe the granular. Cool. I quite like it when things react to other things in the project file. So let's bring the filter up on there. Let's see what happens here now. So maybe because we can't hear it. Oh, I need to bring this up. quite cool. Let's choose the input as the guitar Atmos. What was it called? 1. Post. Let's record that out. For some reason, Bitwig does do this weird thing where you have to stop it and start it to get it at the right start point. Oh, no, I was wrong. Okay, cool. We'll take that as a loop. I do also really like working in this way where you let the computer do things for you, but then you just delete things like the actual original files. Although that is a prime example of when you can just deactivate something. So say I wanted to go back to that, I can just 0 it and just hide that for now. So we'll call that Guitar Atmos 1. Make it blue. Okay, next up we can get rid of that, or we could just deactivate that because we don't need that anymore. Let's do something with this guy. What could be quite cool there is to make that, I don't know, let's see. Maybe we can also just pitch that up like 7 and create like a chord out of it. What did I just pitch? Ah, that file. Let's pitch this guy up 7. Okay, that'll work. We'll do 5 on there. So let's see what we've got all together. Don't actually like that. I'm going to put that back to the middle. Don't like that bit of clap, really. Let's just let's see if we can find a cool clap there. Whatever. Okay, cool. So that really does kind of sum up. I'm going off on a tangent now. Some of the cool things that you can do and how you can really get a workflow going with minimal effort, just like a couple of mappings and recording audio out. Oh my god, it's 40 minutes long already. I am going to end this now and think about what I want to show you next time. But I hope you've enjoyed Bitwig Studio. The possibilities are endless, and there's a couple of new features I've been trying in the beta for 3.2 that are just madness. The creative limitations are your own mind rather than the software itself with Bitwig, and I am really excited to be able to share this with you. And finally, having figured out how to record both my face, the screen, the voice, and the music is just a game changer, and you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be doing more of these videos. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I've got 40 seconds of waffling before I get to 40 minutes. So you know what? I'm just going to call it 30 seconds and end it now. Thank you very much. Till next time.